Welcome to the series in computer science. As a part of this series, we are in the course of artificial intelligence and in unit 3, which is knowledge representation techniques. In continuation with the last topic, which was on ontology, we will continue with the demo of ontology, but before that we will have a quick recap of the example that we worked out. If you see in this slide, the example that we worked out during last stage, where in the PET domain there are some 5 steps. In the first step, we are defining the scope and the competency questions. The scope is PET and the competency questions, just assume for example just 2 questions here. Which PET has the age of value 5? This is actually 5. And which PET has owner Alice? Just this simple demo. So, we are just asking 2 competency questions, a simple ontology that we could demonstrate of. Okay. This is step 1. In step 2, we are defining the classes. The classes consist of a superclass of thing that is mentioned here, along with this a person, pet is a kind of thing, person is a kind of thing, dog is a kind of pet, bird is a subclass of pet, cat is a subclass of pet. So, this comes under class 2, which I have mentioned it here in class 2. This is step 3, mentioning the core components of it. And in step 3, we are giving the relations or the properties. Here I have mentioned 2 properties. The first one is has owner, which is the object property. Object property, if you remember, it is going to be with respect to the 2 classes. The 2 classes are the pet and the person. Pet has owner person. The pet is going to be the domain and person is going to be the range. So, this has owner is actually the object property. The other example is the has age, which is the data property. This represents the data property, which I have mentioned in red. That is pet has age and this has to be in integers. This is the data property. So, there are 2 properties in step 3. And step 4, we are going to define the constraints. The constraint can be dog has only one owner, similar to that, and a person can have only one name, age can be unique. So, those kinds of representation can be given in step 4. In step 5, we are going to give the instances, which is in purple color. The step 5, if you see, Alice is an instance of person. There is a name called Alice as a person. Max is an instance of dog. Tweety is an instance of bird. Whiskers is an instance of cat. So, we have mentioned in step 5 the instances, and we can also give the assertion in step 5 with respect to instance. Here we will give just one assertion for Max. Max has age 5. The value is 5 that is given, and this 5 obeys the integer value that we give in step 3 and step 4, where we are having the data property. So, given this ontology, this is the human representation, that visual representation that we have drawn as per our understanding. Now, with this representation, suppose we ask which pet has the value 5. See, what we have given is the assertion that Max has the value age of 5, but which pet has an age value 5? It is actually Max. So, the ontology will go through the whole thing of pet with, although we have given max and the question asked is pet, the answer, it would map pet with 5 and it will give the max as the answer according to this ontology. A similar case with this query, which pet has owner Alice. So, has owner Alice, this has to map with the pet as well as the person and it would give max as the answer. So, this is the ontology that we have developed visually. Now, what we are going to see is, I will show a quick demo in the web using the tool called Protege, which is used for ontology, and we will work out the same pet domain. If you see in this slide, this is the address protege.stanford.edu, and in Google if you just type Protege, it will take you to this site where there are two options available. You can use the web Protege on the internet, but the reasoner you may have to see and install it separately, but when I was trying to install reasoner I was not able to get it. The reasoner, otherwise the reasoning process can be done using the locally built one, which you have to download it inside your laptop or your desktop and install it personally on your machine and build up this tool called Protege, and on the top of Protege there is a option of reasoner which will give the answer to the query. So, install locally is one of the best options to use ontology, but just to have a demo of what are the facilities available there, we would be going through use web Protege. So, I am just going to click web Protege here and show you a quick overview of what are the options available in web Protege, how to develop an ontology there. And later on in the slides I would give the reasoner also with the options that I have built in my laptop. If you just go into web Protege and once you have clicked on to the project, this is the project icon available, the display with respect to once you have created a project, there will be a screen like this one, and if you see on the left hand side, this is the domain that I have created, we have created is pet. The work that we have done last time, the same thing we are going to follow it here. So, first step, it is a pet domain. The competency question, it is only for our understanding, step 1 we would leave out. In step 2 we are going to give the classes. So, see here the first icon is the class, the second is the property, third is the individual. So, these are three major things that we will be doing it here. You see an icon here, if you just click classes, I have already created cat, dog and small dog. Suppose we want a class to be created. See, this is the whole thing, this is the super class that we always mention, and below thing is the person. Person comes here, I can just pull it and put it up and thing. So, in thing there are two classes, person, and within pet there are three classes, cat, dog and small dog. So, this is the second step. In the third step, I told you about two types of properties here. One is the data property, another one is the object property. Data property we have created has age, and has age, if you remember, have said about the domain and range. The domain is going to be pet. Suppose I cancel it here, the domain here we can map as pet. Pet, it will show the class that has been included earlier, so it would be giving as pet. So, this is the class name, and the range, has age is always integer. So, we have to mention XSD, it is a standard one that is available in the ontology that we can pull it up and put it here. So, that is XSD ontology. Similarly, has name, a pet has a name, the domain we are giving it as a class called pet, and the range as the name. So, this is with respect to the data property. Now, with object property it has to link two classes. So, the first I think we have mentioned hash owner. Let us create an object property called hash owner. And if you see, the hash owner will be created. See, you have to select here and then create hash owner. And you get this is just a garbled one, so I am just deleting this off. Okay, delete it here. This is not required. Yeah, this. Suppose I create another one as hash owner. Okay, it gives some other name, but actually you would get it as, I am just refreshing it so that we get a straight away good one. You once we have the data properties mentioned, we can indicate the domain as well as the range over here. Suppose we say the domain would be person, pet, and the range is person. Okay, here it gives a garbled information, but suppose I give hash owner name here, gives a garbled information, but nevertheless you can experiment and see. This is the icon for create the relation with a domain and name, and that is it. And the data properties, like earlier I said how to put that, and we will create instances and then go for the third step. So, hash age, here there are some characteristics where you can mention the constraints. The constraints actually here we are not able to mention, but I can show in the locally installed machine the screenshot which I have, how the constraints are being mapped. And we can also mention the classes. No, classes, suppose we have the pet, cat and dog, these two are just disjoint. We can also mention that in ontology, that I will show in the screenshot available with my locally installed machine. Now, in the last step, we are creating the instances. The instances, if you see the instances that we have to create, for person it is going to be Alice. Alice is a person. So, if you just click on this part, this icon, it will show the list of classes. So, for this person we have to create an instance. I would use Alice, and this Alice is an instance of person. Similarly, I can select Max. I want to create Max as an instance of cat, dog. Suppose this is a class dog, and within this class I want to create Max. So, this is an instance. So, if you just use this icon, it can be used for creating the instances. So, right now we have the classes, properties and individuals created, and with this we have to build the reasoner from that. Say using reasoner we can query the options. That query option is not available here, but I can show it from my the screenshots from my locally installed machine. So, this is the screenshot from my locally installed machine, the same Protege tool with these options. So, it would be slightly different, where you would on the top you would see the list of tabs, and here there are some active ontology entities, individuals by class, OWL. OWL is web ontology language, and DL query, again ontology is built upon the description logic. So, whatever the ontology that we develop, the query is through the description logic, and I will give you an example of the query, the same example that we have written using the visual form. We can give using DL and get the result. Okay. Now, here is the first and the second step that we tried for classes, where here you have the thing, the superclass as the thing with two major classes, person and pet, and within pet we have cat and dog. This is the first step. And from here we are building the object property. The object property is linking between the two classes. Here you can see this is from my locally installed machine, and this is different from the one that I showed earlier. And here you can see the tabs of reasoner, tools, refractor, window, on top, help. Now if you see the object properties here, I have created a property called has owner, and if you see that property on the right hand side, you can see the different characteristics, whether it is functional. If you remember, the relations I mentioned, it can be inverse of each other. For example, faculty teaches course and the course is taught by faculty, it is an inverse relation. So, that inverse relation can be mapped over these characteristic stuff. So, this the relation, each relation can be mapped here, and the domain and range for this range, has owner, the domain is pet and range is person, can be indicated here. In this figure you can see that. This is an example of the object property. In the data property, we said it has age and name. Here there is an example of has age. So, the has age is a relation again with the domain as pet and the range as an integer. So, has age is always integer. And if you see again, the relation has the characteristics of the functional type. In the next step, we have the instances and assertion. The instances, we are going to create individuals by class. Again, it is very similar to that of the web Protege tool, where it was instances. Here, for each class we will select the individuals. Say for example, here I have selected dog, and against dog I have created the instance called Max, and I have also given an extension of it as assertion. The dog Max is an instance of dog and it has an owner. I have linked the relation with has owner Alice. Alice is a person, this the instance of person. So, I have linked Max has owner Alice and Max has age a value of 5. So, I have indicated that relation also here as the last step is the fourth step. And with all these, having built the ontology so far, suppose if I click the reasoner and start reasoning out. It is a standard, there are many reasoner available. I just clicked out the default one because this is a demo session, and if the reasoner is good enough with this query, we will be getting back the result. With this query, this is the description logic query. The question asked is pet. This is the standard syntax of asking the question. So, this actually has owner of value Alice, the answer given is Max. And similarly, it can ask pet and has age value 5, it will give the answer as Max. Okay. So, this is the description query and this is the result. This is the reasoning result that is available out of ontology that we have developed. So, this is a quick demo and a very short demo of the ontology with respect to pet domain, and you can experiment with the university domain and the other portion also that we have discussed so far. In summary, a quick recap of the semantic network frame and ontology with respect to knowledge representation technique. The major goal is represent knowledge so that how a machine can understand. Mostly we are talking about the reasoning aspect of it, and if you remember in AI said there are two major things, one is reasoning, another one is learning. So, the reasoning involves most of the logical forms and how we can understand, how the humans could reason out, can we develop some methods by which a machine can also understand. So, with respect to that, there are some methods available. The basic one is the first one that we talked about, the semantic networks in the last few session, where it represents the knowledge as nodes and the relation as links. And the basic one, it has the hierarchy and the inheritance that is supported, but the inheritance or the logical inference is rather shallow. It is only the path traversal that is effective. While it can be used for small domains, in the in somewhat sophisticated form, we went into the frames, and where in the frames we had the slots and the fillers form, which have more expressive than the semantic network stuff, which can handle default and exceptions. It is also quite intuitive, very much like the human kind of reasoning nature, but it also lacks certain stuff like the quantitative nature and the constraints, other things we cannot express using frames. Therefore, we are getting into the ontology, the third one, where the last we discussed for last two classes we discussed ontology, where we could express knowledge in the formal form, which is actually shared scalable and verifiable knowledge. Like the ontology built at one end can be exported to the other end and can be merged together to form an entire bigger ontology. In that sense, it is scalable, and this can also support the automatic reasoning with number of tools. Next, we will be seeing about natural language processing and how natural language processing, how words are being understood by the machines, and that in the form of embeddings. Just before getting into NLP, natural language processing, can you make a quick guess on this picture? In this picture, you could see a tree with some leaves on it, a bat here which is flying. So, what is all this about? So, think about it, and while we come to the end of natural language processing, we would again look back into the tree and see what it is. So, if you look at natural language processing, it is more from the linguistic side of it. A natural language processing or NLP, it combines computational linguistics, which is rule based modeling of human language, with statistical and machine learning models to enable computers and digital devices to recognize, understand and generate speech and text. This is from this website, which is IBM, but if you look at it, it is mostly how we understand language. Say if you take your own mother tongue, how you are able to understand it. So, can we make a similar attempt to understand, to make a machine understand language? That is more important. And recently you might have heard of the large language models like ChatGPT or Gemini that has the language capabilities in it. So, how is it that they are able to understand the language? So, that we will be talking about in this unit. And if you see this, there are multiple keywords like this. The rule based modeling. Rule based modeling is the default one. Rule based is if it is belonging to some particular syntax or particular rules, then we follow that modeling. This is the basic stuff. Mostly this is the grammatical method. Rule based is a grammar way of looking at it from the linguistic side. And the statistical and machine learning models, these are going to be from the mostly from the ML models, and what we will do is the words, the sentences that we speak will be converted statistically, that means into numbers, and that numbers into some kind of machine learning models, that also we will delve into it and see how it is being done. And eventually the goal is to make a machine understand the language. So, if we look at the first one, what we will do now is we will get into this rule based modeling, which is the syntactic method, that is the base of NLP, and then slowly we will delve into the other methods. So, if you look at the basic stages of NLP, the fundamental, the first one is the text pre-processing. The text pre-processing is cleaning and formatting the text data. Assume that you have a paragraph text available from outside, and that text will have many unformatted things, like there will be commas, there will be full stop, there will be unwanted spaces there, and sometimes it would not be, say, the lowercase letter, sometimes it would, everything will be uppercase letters. So those have to be cleaned and formatted. Sometimes there will be some special characters which is not required. So all those are going to be formatted and cleaned. So this is the first step, which is the text pre-processing. Next one is lexical analysis. Here we will convert all the bigger sentences into small parts, bigger sentences or paragraphs or documents into small independent units. These we call as tokens. Third one is the syntactic analysis or parsing. How we are going to give the grammatical structure to each of the sentences. Here we will borrow the linguistic stuff. In almost lexical and the syntactic, we will borrow the grammatical or the linguistic structure and align it with the computational side. The fourth one is the semantic analysis. Semantic is how the meaning is interpreted, how they combine. So you have individual words. With the individual words, how it is going to be combined to form the meaningful phrases and the sentences. And the last is the discourse integration. In discourses, we have a larger context, and from the larger context, can we make a meaning out of it in an essence? More like if you give a whole paragraph an input to a ChatGPT and ask it to summarize, it would summarize and say in one word, this is all about it. So that's kind of a discourse integration that we are talking of. Okay. So these are the first stages. We will go through each one of it here. In the text processing, the first one, this is the first text processing that we will be talking of here. Say take this example, this is an example sentence. Natural language processing, in brackets it is NLP, is a subfield of artificial intelligence, which is AI in bracket. First one is the tokenization. This is a common one. In tokenization, what we do is split the entire text into individual words or tokens. So after this tokenization part, we will get the result like this. This is the pre-processed text, where natural, the first natural appears here, language it appears here, NLP, this processing appears here. NLP is a subfield of artificial intelligence. So each words are called as tokens here. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 11 tokens after pre-processed text. And lower casing, like I said, all these have to be lowercase. Convert all the words to lowercase. So this would be all the capital letters to lowercase. It's very simple how we could understand. And removing punctuation. So when we feed into a machine, the punctuation may not be required. So all the punctuation, the brackets, all is gone. In the second step is the lexical analysis. Lexical is breaking down into smaller independent units. We will take the same example. This is the same example. This is the starting input sentence that we are having. So after breaking into smaller units, we have natural language processing is a subfield. And this is word tokenization. And sentence tokenization, this is a whole sentence. Where we are studying NLP, it is fascinating, original text. After this, we are studying NLP. This is the first sentence tokenization, and it is fascinating. This is the second tokenization. So word tokenization, it is with respect to a single word we are having a token. Sentence tokenization, it is for the entire word. With tokenization with special characters, we will have the special characters will be removed with this type of it. So if, say for example, you have the original text, email me at john.doe@example.com or visit www.example.com. Here the result would be at email me at john.o or visit. So, you have those special characters also involved here, or it can also be removed based on the user's condition. So, this is with respect to the introduction to NLP. We will continue the remaining NLP portions and the language models